Hello and welcome to the February edition of askLRR. I am your host, Adam, and this month I'm joined by Nelson.
Hey there.
And Matt.
Woo!
Yeah, so every month we answer questions that are submitted to us by our YouTube members, and YouTube membership can be found over on our YouTube page, and you can subscribe to us much like people subscribe in Twitch for a monthly fee, and then they get to answer or ask questions for a variety of LRRcast members, which you can find over at youtube.com/LoadingReadyRun. It's our community page, and there's a little join button which you can use, and then you can submit your questions through there. Also, a little bit of housekeeping before we start. This and everything that we do is brought to you by you at your support at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. It's still incredible that every month we're able to survive. You know, we're still getting paid, so it's nice. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for supporting all of the stuff we do.
Yeah. So, Matt and Nelson, how do you feel? You ready to answer some questions?
I'm hydrated, which means that I'm ready to party. And as all three of us are obviously the party boys of LRR, I think we should get the party going, right, Nelson?
Yeah. When you think party with LRR, these are the faces you think of, right? Like this is how you get a party going. So yeah, I would say I'm ready to party. Definitely.
Close. All right, cool. So let's get into these questions. So first off, what's your favorite odd or unusual soda still in production?
Fantastic party question. My good friend Jonathan Rickard came up with a great mixed drink based on me having an abundance or a proclivity for Sailor Jerry's spiced rum, which is like a kind of rum that you can get up here, and it's got like tattoos on the bottle and stuff. It's pretty good, and we figured out that the 24-hour Max near my house at the time sold Lime Crush, and Lime Crush was the absolute best mixer with Sailor Jerry's. It does unfortunately look like garbage. It looks like garbage when you put them together. It's like a weird garbage juice color, but it's delicious. And I believe Lime Crush is in production still. I'm sorry to our member, our YouTube member who asked this, if you can't find Lime Crush anymore. But that is my answer.
Matt?
I don't make a habit of drinking soda anymore, other than when I'm mixing gin with Italian soda that I buy, because that's the bougie stuff from the supermarket near my place.
Yeah. I'm not much of a soda person. It's actually funny because I never drink soda, but today I got to skip the dishes for a big old fountain drink from McDonald's. Like that was literally all. I ordered some fries too, but I wanted just like a big soda. I was like,
okay,
oh, man,
but
do this.
Did you order a big soda from McDonald's, but specifically tell them to get a little bit of every one from the machine?
No, I didn't. That's never been my thing. Even when I was a kid, I didn't do stuff like that. But
we're going to need a whole new service called Skip the Swamp Water, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'd be. I think that you could make some money off of that. I'm just trying to think about what stuff that's weird but still in production. I don't think there's the only weird drink that I can ever think of is Orbits, and I don't think they make Orbits anymore, right? Or balls. Remember balls?
Oh God, I remember being surrounded by that in high school, along with I think Nos.
Yeah, Nos.
Right. Nos. Yeah. I can remember balls now, but I had forgotten about them. So
what was the remember Jolt Cola?
Jolt.
Oh, yeah.
Jolt was the caffeine drink before energy drinks were everywhere.
Oh, before they got increasingly illegal in what they were doing, but not actually illegal.
Yeah. Jolt was the big one.
Were they legislated out of existence? Because Jolt's slogan was just all the sugar, twice the caffeine, or something like that. Like it was just as much of this as Coke, but double the other thing.
Yeah,
whether it's sugar, or caffeine, or fizz, or whatever. Yeah.
I don't even know how much more caffeine it would have been. You know what I mean? I don't even know how outlaw the Jolt Cola was compared to regular cola. It's all still pretty bad.
The fact that we drink cola at all or any soda is, I guess, a little bit sad.
Yeah, I mean it's fine as long as you don't drink too much of it, right? It's just like anything.
Freaking delicious is what it is. It's more than fine.
Just have it as a treat, you know?
All right. This next question from Thomas Hederman for Nelson. Given your history with Yellow Jacket, do you have any stories about wacky or strange customers, not necessarily scary ones?
Right. So I have several customers I've interacted with over the years who were scary. I have been robbed, but only for magic cards, fortunately. But I've been scared that.
Hold up, you've been robbed, like with a gun? Like, you pulled it out. They're like, "Give me all the money."
No, they just talked me into giving them a card, like they act like they're going to buy it, and then they fled. So is that burglary? Because I was right there.
That's stolen. Yeah, that robbed implies a weapon has been pulled out.
Like you're gonna get mugged if you don't give them.
All right.
It's like, so I was like, man, Nelson, that's crazy.
So it's just theft if you're right there and you see it happen, but they didn't harm you or threaten to harm you.
Yeah.
It's robbery if they have a weapon, and it's burglary if you're asleep, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
I think that's legally the distinction, and none of us are going to look up.
Perfect. Yeah. Adam has like slammed the hammer. Anyways, so I've had some bad interactions, but I've also like made friends. I've had lots of interesting conversations with people who have like tons of world experiences that I don't have. I've learned a lot about life, I guess, working behind the till. I met my wife at Yellow Jacket. Like I married a customer, kind of.
Really?
That's how we first met. Yeah. My wife came in looking to play F&M because that was new and exciting. And also it was the first time she had been in a store that sold singles. Like she had just like amassed her initial collection of magic cards out of just buying packs. Because that's what was available near her.
I didn't know. That's so cute. I didn't know you met your wife at Yellow Jacket.
Yeah. That's how
was there a part of you, like, now that Yellow Jacket's moved, is there a part of you that was like, oh man?
I took photos of myself in front of the Johnson Street window facade. Thank you. Yeah. The front of the store. Thank you, Matt. With a little tear in my eye, like end of an era. But yeah, sure. I'll have nostalgia for that place. I spent a lot of time there. But I have a real answer. And it was the weirdest thing. About 10 years ago now, this group of people, pretty big group, like 3 or 4 people at first, but then it was like, oh, it turns out a couple other people would come in on their own, were part of this group. And then I met like some of their wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and stuff. Like it turned into like a pretty large, like 10 to 14 person crew. And they started off just buying stuff, a few packs at first, then a box. That was kind of a funny joke for them. And then they started buying more boxes and kept going to tournaments. And then more people started coming to tournaments. And like over time, they ended up advertising for the store a whole bunch on the internet, such that thousands more people were interested to come to Yellow Jacket. And they even they got a few of the part-time staff jobs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What?
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
That seems like a very tall tale.
Did I come around this one way too far to the back door? I wasn't. Okay. All right, we're all here. Everyone's with me.
We're all here. Yeah,
it took me a second.
I appreciate how dryly you sold the reaction on that one.
Yeah, thanks.
I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
also, this is same person. Subsidiary question, I guess secondary part of the question for everyone. Do you have any interests that you put a lot of effort towards as a teenager or young adult that you don't do anymore because of time, energy, obligations that you would want to pick up again?
Drawing.
Yeah?
Yeah. In middle school through to early mid-high school, I was one of the little kids that was on DeviantArt and like posting a couple pictures, but they weren't good. It was like photo, like a photo of the artwork instead of like it being scanned, and it was just like crayons or pencil.
Yeah.
Before
digital art became very popular.
Yeah, DeviantArt is for that, right?
I didn't think it was weird at the time. Like, I thought it was weird, but I didn't think much about it. I didn't reflect on it. But my God, was there always inflation to art on the front page of DeviantArt back then.
What do you mean?
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
It's a niche interest, is what I will say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me,
Yeah, for you.
no, I kind of just stuck with most things that I liked. I mean, video games is the big one, so I still do that. Um,
Are there any sports that you
I guess
maybe want to?
basketball. Yeah, I guess basketball. I was pretty good at basketball.
Yeah.
I was okay at it. I got
Well, you are
offered
a big boy.
yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, right? You know what I mean? Like, just because you're tall doesn't mean you're going to be good, right?
Yeah.
It matters. Like, the younger you go, the bigger the more like the larger you are than the other children. Yes, it matters. But
If
once
you're
you
good,
all
being
kind of
tall
like,
is nice, though, right? Like
yes,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah,
at least
yeah.
medium,
It
being tall is
matters.
nice.
Like, I've told this story. I think I've told the story in other places before, but like I had like a partial scholarship offer from University of Saskatchewan
Oh, nice.
that I never took them up on because I didn't want to play basketball.
Or move to Saskatoon, or wait, or was
Yeah,
that where you were at the time?
yeah, but no, I was
Sorry.
like I was in northern Saskatchewan, so it was
Oh,
a
okay.
step up in far as like what was available to me, but
Right.
I don't know. I just never wanted to be a basketball player. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to do that.
You wanted to be a hardcore gamer instead.
Yeah, I just I wish I had more time, or more of the impetus, I guess, to do writing and acting, because I liked both of those a lot in high school, and also playing music. So I get the opportunity to write and act at LRR, so that's great. And I was in a choir when my kids were first born, like right before or right after my daughter was born. I joined a choir, and that was pretty good. I kept it up for a year and a half or so, and then once I had 2 kids, it was like, oh, I don't have time for this anymore. But I would like to be. I always like to get into music things. Like, I'm always interested in like joining bands or whatever.
Well, you could just sing to your children, right?
Yeah.
They're so tired of it.
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
They're done. Yeah.
All right. This next one's from the Anti-Muffin. Adam, have you ever considered trying speedrunning? It seems to fit your style. Not really. I've always been like when I do a thing, I'll do one thing, right? Like, someone described me as like, I know that not a lot of people might get this reference, but I'm basically like the burst DPS class of video game players, where like I get it. Like, I have like a short window where I'm very like I get very focused in on something, and then I play it, and to the point where I'm just like, I need to learn everything about it. And then once I reach a certain point, I'm just like, all right, next. And I just move on to the next thing. And I don't think speedrunning is like a mastery over one thing, right? I've never been, I was talking with Paul before we even started, was just like, I feel like I do too much, or I play too many things, because I don't feel like I'm just like jack of all trades isn't that bad of a thing, right? Like, I'm getting all these different experiences by playing all these different games, and then I use them and apply them to the other games, right? Like, now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I can look at a game and kind of figure it out pretty quickly, but I've always been kind of blessed where like I snap onto things quickly. Like, I'm just like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I know what they want me to do and the steps to get there to do it.
Yeah.
But I've never been like I can't grind a thing for just a thing. Like, I can't do that every day for forever. I would just go crazy. Yeah.
Whereas I personally play a lot of JRPGs, so.
But I mean, like, do you only play one, or do you just play like all of them? Right? Like, do you have one that you just like
I rotate.
Yeah. Like, my example is like when I was playing Darkest Dungeon. It's like, that's the perfect example. Is like, I picked a thing and I wanted to beat this like without torches on the hardest difficulty. And it took me like, I did it for like 6 months. It took me 6 months of playing every day. And I was like,
and you did it
I kept
once.
banging away, and I did it once. And then I was like, all right, that's it. I'm out. See you later.
You got the little achievement pop up and you're like, great, job
But
done.
it's never even
the same
been
with
about
the
that,
Boshi, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Boshi, it's funny because people say like, oh, you're the Boshi, but it's like, that took me like a month. That was a month of my life. That was it. But it was like, everybody always remembers that, and they're not like, hey, you're the Darkest Dungeon guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
the Boshi is like a well-known, really, really hard one, though. Whereas like, I haven't even played a game of Darkest Dungeon. I've watched your stream several times, but honestly, I've watched your stream not enough to know even what's going on in the game or what's making it hard.
Well,
Mostly
and-
just I'm always dropping in for 5 minutes because that's all I got, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this is weird and looks like everyone dies all the time.
Looks
yeah,
awful.
and
Yeah.
the thing about Darkest Dungeon is you can make it that hard, but you can also play at
You can
a
also play it not
lower
the fun
difficulty.
way.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas
play-
with
Right.
with the Boshi, you're only at that level, right?
Yeah, there's only like one. Well, there's difficulty levels to Boshi, but it's they're pretty like the jumps in difficulty are very minor, right? You know what I mean? Like, I argue that I Want to Be the Boshi is like one of the best designed games I've ever played, as far as like the game teaching you what it wants you to do. And like giving you clues, and then like you'll make a mistake once and you're like, oh, you got me. All right, very good. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't expect that. Like subverting your expectations about like when things are going to happen. I don't know. I think that game's excellent. But yeah, as far as like speedrunning, I'm not much of a grinder. I'm more of like I like to learn a thing and then move on with it. So
Yeah.
Can I ask this about speedrunning real quick before we move on? You don't want to grind at it, meaning like you wouldn't want to keep playing the same route through your speedrun, whichever your game is that you've chosen, over and over again until you have the world record or whatever, right? But like, would you consider like being part of the speedrunning scene where you're like, okay, I have this game that I speedrun. I'm medium good at it, but I don't necessarily play it every day.
yeah,
But
I mean, that's
come around
probably
to
a
the
better
con every year, right? Like there's like a
Yeah.
sort of, I want to say healthy or whatever, or just a different interaction with speedrunning.
Yeah, I mean, like it. I guess that I didn't think about phrasing or framing it that way in my brain. So
Well,
that makes a lot more sense. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't speedrun either, but
yeah, I think that if I had to pick a game that I was going to speedrun, Mario 64, and I don't think it's close. That is the game I would like windmill slam. Like if I want to learn a speedrunning game, Mario 64 looks like the most fun. Because there's
and it's a
there's an
very
established
common one,
route.
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's popular, it's established. There's probably a ton of guides for it. But like the movement's really cool. Like I just think that's fun. It's like that's the puzzle, right? The puzzle in speedruns is like, what's your movement and how do you apply it to cheat the game? Basically, is like that's
What exploits can you find?
and movement's just so. I think movement's like very often looked over, like piece of the gaming pie, as far as like when players are like. I could talk about this forever. Sorry, I'm droning on, but like even like
I'm enjoying
when you think
it.
about a game. When you think about a game like I went through like a Path of Exile phase, which is a popular action RPG in the veins of like Diablo and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you're a new player, you're overwhelmed by all this stuff, but the game it's immensely rewarding for movement abilities in that game help you deal with a lot of the stuff that looks very confusing. Right? It's like your movement is all tied to your like movement is survivability, right? And survivability means success, and then success means the brain juice happens, and then the number go up, and you're like, all right, I did it.
You
But
want the good brain chemical. You want number go up because
Yes.
that's the good thing.
You want number go up, and movement it's like so huge in that game. It's just like I don't know. I think that's fun. I love finding out like the little random things about games that push you from hey I tried this thing once to I am obsessed with this and I want to figure it out and I want to do all the content that they have, like you know what I mean. Like it's just like every game has like a little hook that you can I guess exploit to maximize your success, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
I
like
love the stuff about like that optimization, I guess is what I was looking for.
yeah, it's like the calculator class in Final Fantasy Tactics, which I'm currently playing. It's like once you get that, you break the game open.
Oh man, that's funny. Like Tactics I haven't played Tactics in such a long time, but I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 recently, and there is they took Tactics and put it in Final Fantasy 14. There's like a raid, and you can like you go to Ivalice, and the Beowulfs are in it, and it's very cool. They played all the music and stuff. Awesome. Tactics music is some of my favorite of all time.
Oh, it's very good.
Yeah.
I'm playing through Mario Odyssey right now, so maybe it's close to 64. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Odyssey's
I do have to learn
great,
how it jumps. Yeah,
that game was awesome. Yeah, I played the hell out of that one. Yeah.
My family's all been doing it together.
Oh, that's cute.
Family Odyssey.
Well, I appreciate the game design that they're like, okay, one person can just be the hat, and so most of the time they can get away with
kids get
doing
the hat.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just like when you're growing up with siblings and you give your sibling the unplugged controller.
Yeah.
You do that one. Oh man, that one was my go-to. I gave my little. I have a little half brother. He was like a toddler when I was in high school, and he always wanted to play video games. So I always give him the one that.
There you go. We're playing Contra together, buddy.
Yeah.
I see you were the big brother, whereas I am the little brother.
Yeah. Well, I was
Where
in the middle.
Just sitting there watching my brother play Diablo, like, oh, I see a lot of screaming and goat men and blood, and this is weird for someone who's like 7 years old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm smack dab in the middle. I'm the middle kid. Like I'm right. Yeah. I have 2 older brothers. Well, I guess I have an older brother and an older sister, and then 2 younger brothers. So I'm like right in the middle. Yeah.
Adam's older sister right now.
She looks exactly like me. It's weird. This next one from Samurai Tiger 19. What is your favorite evil combo in Magic? I'm sure Nelson has a lot. I'm a limited player, so I don't have a lot.
I don't play, so I'm going to say land destruction.
Nice.
Because that seems like it would be not fun to play against.
It's not fun against. It's not fun for anybody. Yeah.
It's not really a combo, though. I just want to go with the best combo ever here. Mm-hmm. My favorite one is Time Vault Voltaic Key. Because as the opponent... I mean, it's like evil, right? It's like a broken combo, as they say. It's banned in most formats. But as the opponent, you're just like, okay, I'm dead. And there's no no questions. You don't have to beat yourself up like, oh, okay, maybe I'm drawing cards, but I never untap and I can't attack. So maybe if we go long enough, I'll be able to stop him after many turns. And you just sit there for like sometimes 10 minutes or whatever before you concede. With Time Vault Key, it's just like, okay, let's go to the next one.
Yeah. I guess it's not an evil combo, but I do love anything in Yarok, the Desecrator. Just any ETB in Yarok, you know what I mean? Like, write a replication, copying Yarok, you know, or just like, it's like, yeah, it's fun. I don't know. It's just, that's good, wholesome Magic.
Lately, Unlimited, something similar to that is there's like a card, like it'll be like a creature that can get a spell back, and then a spell that can get 2 creatures back.
Yeah, there was that Scholar of the Ages, and like the reanimate, and you can keep looping them, and it's just
you can you can like draw your whole deck and deal with all their stuff eventually, but it's really expensive. But
I would much if every game of Magic I ever played, if I got to draw my whole deck and then died, I'd be the happiest person on the planet.
Oh my god, that's my least favorite thing.
Like really?
If I cast every spell in my 40 card deck and then lose, I'm just so utterly defeated.
I don't even need to cast the spells. I could have a grip full of hand. Like I could have a full hand, like 15 cards, move to discard. Yeah, I'll throw like 6 of those away, and then like I'm just sitting there like, yeah, and then I die. It's like that's cool.
Adam, all right. How do you feel about the card game Uno?
Oh, I like Uno.
You just want to grip a cards.
Yeah.
The game or draw 25, right?
Yeah. This next one from Daniel Huris. What's the weirdest dream you can remember? I know this one. I have the snap answer for this one. I actually mentioned this on Twitter a while ago where I had a dream, the most like one of those vivid dreams where you remember everything. And I was giving a tour of my house, but I was streaming it online and Twitch chat the whole time. The only thing Twitch chat said in all caps was "show toilet" over and over again. That's it. They were just like screaming for my toilet. They're like, "Show the toilet right now, content man." And I was like, no, I'm not showing. I remember fighting with them. I'd be like sitting here with like my phone, like I had my backpack on or whatever, you know, with the Go Cam and stuff, and I had all the gear, and I'm like, no, Twitch chat, you can't see the toilet. You know what I mean? Like just arguing with them. I don't know.
That seems so mundane and real, though.
Yeah. But it was weird. It was just like, why are you yelling "show toilet"?
You normally yell "show feet."
Yeah, they usually do. Yeah, usually they'll be like, "Show us your feet," and they'll be like, "No, screw the feet, show us the toilet." Rah! They're all just yelling. Yeah,
they normally show toy, but here they're show toilet.
Yeah, Nelson, you got one?
Adam's toilet water for sale on eBay now, right? Yeah,
gross.
Just from the top tank. I have a couple of sort of gamer dream moments I can remember. Like when I was about 7 on the way to the bus, and I'm sure this had nothing to do with the fact that I had been playing Mega Man like 8 hours a day, every day of the week or whatever the past week. I just like saw a 1-up on the side of the road. So this is while I'm awake, but it was like a very vivid for a second. My eyes were just like, oh, get that 1-up. And like, fortunately it wasn't like in the street. It was just on the sidewalk. because otherwise I might have been a headline in the newspaper. I also can remember, this is later, like just after high school, I'm working my first full-time job at a kitchen, and at night it's just like it's like a Mario or like a Prince of Persia level or something, but it's me and the other line cooks, like it's the other prep cooks and I, like trying, and we're like together battling, like trying to find the keys or something in this platformer.
Fucking weird. That's weird. Oh, that's way worse. Yeah, that's way weirder than mine. You're line cooks and you're all in Prince of Persia. Yeah.
Yeah, that's way weirder than show toilet. You got me.
Show toilet, yeah. I mean, that could be real, right? My dream could be like...
Yeah, instead of scimitars, they just have kitchen knives.
Just baguettes.
Yeah, baguettes.
Yeah, mostly they had their like stand around look. Like, what do you want me to do? Because that part was the same. I'm like sweating, trying to make a spanakopita. My coworker's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like sweating, trying to find the keys, and I'm like the chest. My coworker's like, "What?"
Key in spanakopita.
Yeah.
Matt, you got one?
God, it's actually been years since I regularly remembered my dreams because I only remembered them when my sleeping schedule was slipping around all the time. And I think that's kind of a common thing for people. Like, if you have a set sleeping schedule, you don't remember your dreams very much.
If you're waking up at a certain time, like before you would naturally wake up, you have little chance to remember your dream.
Is that a thing where you write down your dreams every time you remember them? Like
I did that for a while.
Yeah.
Did it work?
That's real.
Yeah.
I like went through the whole course where like I read the book. I can't remember the author anymore. Sorry, but it's Teach Yourself Lucid Dreaming, or the Wonderful World of Lucid Dreaming. I'll try to tag that in the comments later. Yeah. But just like write down your dreams every night and then do some other exercises. And then I got to the point where I was lucid dreaming and flying for a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Damn, that's something I fought for in my dreams. Like whenever I could, I'd be like, whenever I was lucid enough, I'd be like, okay, I can fly, except I'm just like really balling my fists up, like straining, and I'm just floating slowly over the ground. And I'm like, I want to fly. Let me fly.
Yeah. Just screaming, like, I want to fly.
Yeah.
Your dream's just like, no. Yeah.
Keep hacking away, game. You'll get there.
Yeah.
Let's do the next one. This is from Danielle. What's your favorite dinosaur? This is an easy one for me. Triceratops, not close. Three horns.
You just like the three.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know, I just like them. They're big chonkers, they're cute. Kind of like Sarah from Land Before Time.
Ceratops.
Yeah.
God, I love when I learned that her dad's name was Daddy Tops.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah. Daddy Tops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nelson? You got a favorite one?
Oh, for me, it's the one with the long neck because I just like the look of it.
Yeah.
It's a giraffe, but it's not like a mammal.
It's like big, but it just eats plants. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Tyrannosaurus Rex, but I also really like pterodactyls, or I think they're calling them pterosaurs now. So there's a bunch of different species of the really big winged bird ones, because it's sort of like, that's like a dragon, right? Like that's kind of the ancestral memory of a dragon. There's also some really cool underwater dinosaurs that were gigantic, which are like less popular, like less well known.
The unfathomable ocean depths terrify me. Just like deep dark space, like outer space.
Yeah. You don't like the abyss. You don't like the void.
Nope.
I do remember one dream where I was just like, I guess in a spacecraft, slowly or quickly, whatever, relatively slowly, going through space and just having this existential dread dripping into me. And then I woke up sad.
Yeah, that's usually what would happen. And then I woke up sad. I wonder why.
And I'm like, oh, my day's ruined now because of existential dread.
Thanks. Next one from Thomas Putney. Would you all ever sponsor a little... This question's so weird, I was like, I just have to answer it. Would you all ever sponsor a Little League team, and what would you name it?
Coach Nelly's Coach Nelly's.
Yeah.
What, you'd name your team that? That's so good. Coach Nelly's Coach Nelly. Wait, where does the? But wait.
No, it's like the first one has an apostrophe S.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
possessive, and then the
Nice,
second
yeah.
one just has no apostrophe S. It's just
Yeah.
Nelly. It's that they're all a bunch of Nellies.
Yeah, I like that. Oh man, I don't know what I would name it. Man, that's a good question because like little pumpers would probably be what I would call my team.
Little pumpers.
Little pumpers, man, just a bunch of little pumpers. Because like in MMOs, like you know when you like the MMO lingo for people that are like for DPS players that are doing damage, they're like I'm pumping. Like that's their thing. They just say I'm pumping. Time to pump some damage. I want to see you pump. So I would name my little league little pumpers. And they have a cute little mascot, like a big bat, you know.
And it's just like one of the mascots from an MMO.
Yeah, it's just Thrall from
Yeah.
World of Warcraft.
No,
Actually, Thrall's not a pumper. Thrall would never be a pumper. I'm trying to think.
Get a Moogle mascot.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate
little
Moogles.
You hate
Unpopular-
Moogles?
I think Moogles are stupid. Fuck Moogles. There, I'm going on record.
You
Well,
don't like the little fairy.
Good night. I'm out, everybody.
Actually, I said this. Yeah, I was streaming Final Fantasy, and I was like, "Fuck Moogles," and everyone's like, "Yeah, yeah." There was like much agreement. Yeah, Moogles are generally not liked. I think
Wow.
anyway. Maybe I'm just finding weird pockets of people, but.
We
Yeah.
Moogle
I always
standing
think
over
of
here.
like every time I think of Little League teams, I think of I'm going off topic again, but there's a Nintendo game called Dusty Diamond's All-Star Softball. And my brother and I used to rent it all the time when we were kids, younger. And because like you'd like draft a team before you started, you should look it up because it's awesome. You can draft like the devil. The devil has like a spiked bat, and there's like a witch with a broom. There's like different people. It's like a softball game like after school, but I guess
It sounds
everybody that goes
familiar.
to these schools are like
It's-
full
it-
of fucking like creatures of myth and legend.
Is this Blaseball?
No.
Is it like the precursor to Blaseball?
precursor to Blaseball? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be like a little miner. He has a pickaxe as his bat. It's just like what's
Ooh. Ready to kill.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have in mind for that question is I would name the team something like Unbearable Expectations.
Nice. Yeah.
Just because that's what all of their
Parents.
parents are just putting onto them
Yeah, that's
in
fair.
this whole situation.
You know, I never had that. My parents never did that to me. Maybe I'm lucky. I don't know. My dad never really like. You know, my dad would watch me play sports, but he would never like. He was always just kind of like, "Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
If you're good at it, cool." But like.
Pretty much the
it's
same
like-
for me too, actually. Yeah.
That's
My
wild.
parents didn't lead me to sports, and then like later in life, I sort of wish they had. But the one time I expressed an interest, like someone handed me a football flyer. It was like Adam or Pete, like before Pee Wee football, like 12 or something. I'm like, oh, this looks really cool.
That's
And so
Adam.
then
Yeah.
yeah. So I showed my dad and mom the Adam football handout, and they're like, okay, let's do it. And it was like to even try, you have to like put up, $300 for gear or whatever.
It's expensive.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was like pretty sweet that they were into it as soon as they saw that I was into it. So can't complain
Yeah.
with that.
That's cool.
Also, I love the idea that Little Wayne could have a little league hockey team, and he could call them the Little Waynes, and everyone would think
Little
Gretzky.
Waynes. Yeah,
right?
Like Gretzky.
Then you could have
Nice,
Little
nice.
Wayne's Little Waynes. Yeah.
Can they just name their team? Yeah, Lil Wayne's, and then... I love little Coach Nelly's Coach Nelly's. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so good.
Can we
man.
just keep this askLRR question for all of the remaining episodes? Honestly, this whole line of questions has been fantastic.
Also, okay, so next up we got a question from Harold Price. How long were you around LRR before you really felt like a part of LRR? This is a good question to ask us three because none of us were there really at the beginning. We're all like barnacles that attached ourselves to the LRR ship.
To
Right.
Paul's hull. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Paul.
you for
Paul.
being so generous. Having so much need for talent.
I mean, it might be a product of the pandemic, but I feel less like a part of LRR the last year because it's tough for all of us. You know what I mean? Doing this all remotely, and every time I'm at the office, it's empty, and it's just like,
Yeah, you don't see the people, you don't really
Yeah.
feel connected to the people, right?
no.
I miss the writing meeting. Matt, you would always be at the writing meeting, or most of the time you'd be at the writing meeting and be like, it was just a great way to hang out. And also, usually we got lots of work done. I don't know.
Actually writing crap shots together instead of having the odd idea here and there.
I'm trying to think before that, like my lure involvement was always like very sporadic because I would just hang out. I was just hanging out, right? And watching like Paul and Graham and James and Bill and Morgan and all those guys do lure stuff. And I'm like, it's not really for me. You know, I just don't really like being on camera that much. You know what I mean? Like,
You were just straight chilling.
yeah, it wasn't even just chilling, but like then I started streaming, doing the game house on Saturdays. And I didn't really feel like I was a part of lure until I think it took like about a year of Sidewalk Slam, of doing Sidewalk Slam, where I was just like, oh wow, I'm actually like, you know, I'm a lure third. And then doing the PPRs, it was like a cascade effect. It was like I started doing Sidewalk Slam, and then it like bled into me doing PPRs, and now it's just like I'm asked, or I'm like, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to ask to be included in something.
Yeah. Well, and like guests being brought into the PPR, they would meet you as one of the people of lure in their eyes, and I'm sure that solidified it for you as well.
Yeah, I think that's weird for me too. It's just like I still to this day don't think like someone looks at me and like, oh, that's the guy from lure. You know, maybe they do, but that doesn't feel like that to me.
But have they said that exact thing to you at a Grand Prix and then asked for your signature on their playmat? Because that's like another version of this story, kind of, right? In the eyes of someone else who's like, hey, are you the guy from those internet videos? And you're like, yeah. You want to sign that?
I've had that like a couple times. Like, you know what I mean? Like at Grand Prix, it's like, it's different because it's just like, that's the community that we have. Like our lure thumbprint's the biggest in the Magic community. You know what I mean? Like we could go to other cons and be small fish, but when we go to a Magic con, we're kind of like, we're a known quantity, right?
Yeah.
Like
every
PAX,
celebrity,
like nobody knows who the fuck we are when we go to PAX. You know what I mean? Like there are people, but the general public. But almost everyone, when you go to a GP, it's like everybody knows that you're lure people.
Every celebrity is a celebrity in their particular bubble.
Yeah.
Like no celebrity is known to everyone around the world, usually, unless it's a select few, and usually after they're dead.
Yeah.
So, like Sinatra or something. But
Nelson, you got or Matt, you want to?
Yeah. No, I can answer the question. Yeah.
All right. I mean, I was worried when I was working on Road Quest, primarily alone. Actually, I would usually just kind of be in the office, grinding hours out in Road Quest. Generally, when I wasn't in the way of other people editing. Because we only have so many editing computers.
That was before we even got like the extra one.
Yeah,
that was when it was even worse.
Yeah.
It's like awful. Yeah,
but I had that worry and that anxiety in the back of my mind. Like, am I doing enough? Am I making myself useful enough to be considered enough of a fixture and be included in the idea of being part of lure? And after a couple months of that line of thinking starting to dig its way in, I was like, okay, I've been depressed before and I've had anxiety before, and those are bad feelings. So I'm just going to nip this in the bud and say, no, I'm not going to think about that. Being part of something doesn't really matter so much as the thing you're doing with other people, right? And I've made good stuff. I've done good stuff with LRR, and therefore I'm happy about my condition and my position.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't really matter to me if I'm in the group so much as like if we're having fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing about lure too, is like that's been, I'm not going to go into it too deeply, but like the way that people get into lure, right? It's just like I think it's a product that feeling that you're having is a product of how we absorb new people into Loading Ready Run, right? Like it's like a slow, weird process that we never really like. It's never stated. There's not like we give you a goal. It's like, hey, we need you to do this, this, and this. It's like all of a sudden one day it's like, hey, do you want to? They don't even ask you. They just sign you up for something, or like, You know what I mean? Or just something happens, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, I guess I'm part of this. You mean me? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
Hopefully, you got asked before editing Roadcast for probably hundreds of hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
well,
And it helped
so
that
sometimes
I
you get
brought pies
asked.
in.
for me
Sure.
too, it was like the big thing was when they didn't ask me to be on a PPR and they just put me in there.
Oh, okay.
Because I just assumed that I was doing one. Like I literally thought that it was just like a one and like, Adam, can you fill in? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to.
You thought you were one of the guests.
Kind of, but just like I wasn't a member of, like, you know what I mean? Like there are people in LRR who had more of a horse in the race, I guess, like with like Friday nights and everything else, and I was never in Friday nights, you know? So it's just like, I don't know. That's where it was for
you
me
were in
now.
you were in Friday nights after you had been in a PPR, right?
Yeah.
I've written a Friday nights episodes for you. You've been in Friday nights. Okay.
After.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just going a little crazy myself there for a second.
No. What about you, Nelson? Do you feel like you're a part of LRR now?
Yeah, I do. It's a great question, though, right? It's like, listen to even the tone of Adam's voice right now. It's like so loaded with meaning and questioning. And like the three of us have probably thought about it as much as any little sampling of LRR. And it's like, you know, you said before, like you might not even be asked or whatever. The energy of just like having fun is kind of what slowly gets you like into regular calls. And it's just, what is LRR? Well, it's just like a set of you know, appointments and engagements and projects that are all run by the same big network of people. And yeah, you don't get really, at least right away, you don't get like a job offer. It's not like you hand in your resume to Paul and then like wait and do an interview and then you get a job. It's more of just like, you might be on a podcast, and if they liked you, they're going to call you for another podcast, but not the next week. It's going to be like 3 months later. And then if they like you for that one, maybe eventually they'll start getting you on more stuff. So I was working at Yellow Jacket, and I was asked to be in an episode of Friday Nights, and then that went well. So I kept being on episodes Friday nights.
I think that happened with Surge as well.
Yeah, Surge was a bit more involved. Like Surge's story is really interesting for this one too, and I was like, you know, I had the opportunity to see him more often. Like Surge and I are friends, and like we saw each other pretty regularly. He was playing Highlander tournaments more often when he was going through the like early stages of getting more and more involved with LRR. And now like he's busy with LRR and doesn't play as much Magic in Yellow Jacket, you know, for the before times. But yeah, it's like he was actively like looking for work, I know, like, and so he had, you know, some different projects he was like really trying to follow up on, which is fine. That can work too. For me, it was just like, I really enjoyed getting to work with all of y'all whenever I could. And then eventually Graham was like, okay, we want you on this podcast every week. And then I got invited to a writing meeting, and I don't know. And then I felt like I was in LRR after I got to play a draft for free at Grand Prix Vegas, basically.
There you go.
That's where you knew you're like, I've made it, baby. Yeah, that's really good.
Honestly, yeah, kind of like I had just judged for 2 days, and on the third day at Grand Prix Vegas, I just like got up a little bit later, put on my regular clothes, like casually walked at like 10 a.m. over to the hall instead of like needing to be there for 8:30 or whatever.
For free, yeah.
And I got to play a Modern Masters draft, and in between every game, I got to sign someone's playmat. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm in LRR right now. Probably that day though, multiple people probably asked me like, "Hey, are you in LRR?"
Yeah. I mean, like, that happened to me a lot too, though, right? Like, there were times where the one story that I tell everybody was like, my first PAX. Like, I had been doing Sidewalk Slam for like, I don't know, 6 months, not that long, right? And all I did was the stream on Saturdays and Sidewalk Slam. That's it. And somebody came to the table. I will remember this. This will go to my grave. This kid comes up and he's like getting everybody to sign it, and they're all passing around. And somebody went to go pass the thing to me. I think it was Graham. And the kid was like, "Not him, though. I don't know who he is." I was like, "Yeah, that's fair, you know." Like, "Oh yeah, I don't know who he is." I was like, "Yep."
No.
I mean, that's fair, right? Like, it's a kid. They want to get the thing to sign who they want, but it was like, yeah, it doesn't feel good, but it was funny. It's funny now. At the time, I was like, oh, that hurts.
Kids can get away with saying the darndest things.
Yeah, they can just do whatever they want. He was like 12. He was like a child.
Oh yeah.
It's him point. I'll remember his face till the day I die. That kid pointing right at me, like, not him though. I don't know who he is.
He looked you right in the eyes, and you could feel the malice.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't malice. It was just they're just being a kid, right? Like, just saying their thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, final question. This is from Pinball Witch. Given Matt's Twitter handle, his love of goats is on full display. But what about Adam and Nelson? What animals would you be princes of? And for Matt, if you weren't the goat prince, what animal would be next in line to have you in its aristocracy? Matt, you want to start this off?
Matt?
How did you get the goat prince name?
Well,
Is it something like I like goats and I'm a prince and that's it? You're like,
there's a slight bit more to it. When I first joined up on Tumblr years ago,
yeah. Oh, this story's gonna be good.
yeah,
Yep.
I had a throwaway
Old Tumblr too. That was the Wild West.
Old Tumblr too.
Yeah, old
I
Tumblr.
had an old like throwaway username, and I was like, I'm not very happy with this. I want to think up something new, and I eventually came up with Goat Prince, which I just like the look of as a word. Like sometimes you look at a word and you're like, that is a good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is because at the time there was this webcomic, you may have heard of it, called Homestuck.
Yeah. I've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Now infamous Homestuck. And around that same time, because of Homestuck, but also just because I was in university and that's when you do this thing, I got a bit into astrology. And I'm a Capricorn.
Such an Aries thing to say. Oh, you're a Capricorn. Yeah.
The other horned one.
Yeah.
And Capricorns are goats. So I was like, okay, this intrigues me. Let's look at some goats. Oh, they're ridiculous. I love them. That's basically my connection to goats. They're ridiculous and I love them.
Nice.
And then the Prince thing was because one of the characters in the comic had the title of Prince, and I was like, sure, I'll add that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So now I'm part of the aristocracy, the landed gentry, the elite of goats. And now you can too. So Adam,
Oh,
Nelson,
me? Giraffes.
Yeah.
Not close.
giraffes.
Love giraffes, man. They're just big idiots. Like, nobody ever talks about giraffes. They're never like, wow, look at that cute giraffe. They're like, no.
Okay, did you know though that giraffes are the only, to my knowledge, animal that do a live birth, and the live birth, like the child, is born with their horns.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
They also fall like 6 feet onto the ground when they're born.
Maybe they need their horns, like
Yeah.
stab the earth.
Yeah, I would pick, or hippopotamus just because they're so dangerous. You know?
Just combine
That's
the
me.
two.
I'm a dangerous
Would you want to be
man.
like the herald of the hippopotamus, or like the duke of the giraffe, or something? What do you think?
The Baron.
Yeah, I don't even know. There's nothing that like really rhymes with the. Yeah, I don't know. I would just be the king of the giraffes. You know, be a little bit taller than everybody else.
I saw some live giraffes at the Calgary Zoo a few years ago. I took my kids to the Calgary Zoo when we were in town, and giraffes are gigantic. Like
they're huge.
Whenever we mention giraffes, everyone immediately says tall or talks about the long neck, but actually, like the body of this thing, it's like 4 cars. Like
they're thick.
They're
man.
huge.
They're so thick. Yeah,
They're
and they they headbutt people. It's just like whack.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's cool. Like if I ever had to pick a fursona, it would be a giraffe. I would commission an artist to draw
Not a very
muscular,
common one.
strong. No.
Yeah.
I would draw like a very cool and sexy giraffe. You know, 2 legs, arms, and buys.
When they move, they really move. Yeah, totally. They like push themselves into the space. Yeah. So I have an affinity for wild chickens. I've also been lucky enough to get to travel to Hawaii a few times in my life, and they have wild chickens there. And I like any loud bird.
That's any bird. That's any bird.
Well, I like it. I like it when the call is like kind of a weird, long, sort of guttural-ish thing.
That's such
like,
a weirdly specific thing. I
Yeah.
kind of love it. Yeah.
Well, I kind of like I like
I
eagles
like
too.
it when it's a bird and its call
Yeah.
is like 10 seconds long, you know, like very loud.
Yeah, I don't want to learn how. I've never been able to learn how to do like the cool bird calls where you like need your mouth and you're like doing a cute little flute solo or whatever.
Yeah.
But I like any of the bird sounds that are just like "Wah!" Like, you know, I don't want to like
More of a squawk. Yeah.
I don't want to break your earphones like this. But yeah, I like crowing like a rooster, and I'll also try to call like a heron or an eagle or something or any.
Did you ever play, Nelson? Did you ever play World of Warcraft?
Yeah, for a little while. I played Burning Crusade.
So you saw the terracotta, the bipedal birds that go, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You should look it up. Trinkets, yeah, terracotta, man.
Yeah,
I think you figure you'd be the god of the terracotta, man.
I'm down. Yeah,
That's
also
your
killed
persona.
killed a lot of banshees too. Yeah, no, I'm down to have big wings and a really ugly face.
Nice. Oh, like a Skeksis. You just want to be a Skeksis from
I
Dark
do
Crystal.
also love Skeksis. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, Skeksis are like powerful and majestic, whereas like I feel like my place in the aristocracy is more of the buffoon. Like I want to be the the circus clown or maybe the knight of the chickens.
Well, I'm sure even Skeksis have a buffoon amongst them, Nelson. I think there's hope for you yet.
Are you
That's
just
true.
thinking of
Maybe
a turkey?
Yeah, you're just thinking of a turkey. Yeah, maybe you're just thinking of a turkey.
Gobble?
I'm into turkeys.
Well, turkeys don't have like a long call, right? It's like, you know what I mean? Like they're
yeah.
but they're not
anything. Anything that can go like I can get into it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like a
terracotta,
peacock.
man.
Yeah, peacock for sure. Yes.
All right. Well, that about wraps that one up. That was fun. Yeah,
Content gamers.
There were some good questions here this week. Man, shout outs to you, the YouTube members, and everybody else who's watching right now. Remember that you too can take part in this. You just click on the join next to the membership button here on YouTube. You can find a link to that below in the description if you want. And also a reminder, as always, that this content is brought to you by you. With your support at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That's it out of me. I'm Adam once again. You can find me on Twitter at WakeUpSuper. Find Nelson on Twitter at Coach Nelly.
Coach Nelly MTG on Twitter.
Coach Nelly MTG. And you can find Matt at GoPrince, which we had talked about before. So make sure you give all three of us a follow. You can keep up with our random shower thoughts or whatever it is that you do.
Or retweeting.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's it out of us. Thanks a lot, everybody. And I guess we will see you later.
Hurrah!